Hi, everybody. Well, there's two ways to look at this. There's booking your flights to your cruise by yourself, looking around for the best price, looking around for flights and times for yourself that matches what you want to do. And then there's booking flights through the cruise line. And sometimes you can get those offers where, you know, second passenger flies for free or something along those lines. But there's a watch out. There's definitely a watch out when you book flights through cruise lines, because something like this could happen. So one first-time cruiser has just reported that they are pretty frustrated right now because they are scared to death that they're going to miss their cruise, even though they booked the flights through the cruise line. So they booked an NCL cruise from Seoul, Korea, and it's going to be sailing on into Japan. However, the flights to get there, they land an hour and 30 minutes. So 90 minutes the flight is scheduled to land before they close getting on the ship. You have to be at the ship, say, by 3 o'clock. Their flight comes in at 1:30. That sort of scenario, which means they have to get off the plane. The plane has to be directly on time or early. They have to get off the plane, go through customs, through the security there of a foreign country. They have to get to their bags, get their luggage, find a taxi, get to the cruise port, all in 90 minutes. Or that ship is going to lock them out and leave without them. So there can be absolutely nothing go wrong on that flight or trip. Nothing. It can't be delayed at all, or they will definitely miss. Now, the cruise line booked these flights. Well, depending on which cruise line you're booking through, they all have different rules, but some of them, like Norwegian, say you cannot change your flight within 120 days. Once it's locked in, and if you want to change it, you have to pay the difference, etc., especially for those sails that are, passengers can sail for free or discounted rates. Now, when you book those flights with discounted rates, the cruise line, when they're booking the flights, they're not looking at times. They're not looking, well, you know what? This person's, the ship is there at 3 o'clock. We got to make sure the passengers should be arriving by 11 to give them enough time to get to... No. They're not looking at that at all. They're looking at what flight is cheapest for them to book, because they want to increase their profit margin. They don't want to spend triple the money on a flight because it's more convenient for the passenger, especially on those free at sea offers, right? They want to maximize their profit. So they are booking whatever the cheapest possible seat is on the cheapest flight. And yes, it's going to become at a discount price, but sometimes you get this situation where there's no room to make your connecting flight. There's no room to make it to the cruise ship without everything going magically, perfectly, all right. Now, you may say, sure, but if you book your flights through the cruise line, aren't they supposed to make sure that you get to the onto the ship because you booked it through the cruise line? That's easier said than done. Quite often, it's a hassle, it's a fight, especially if you're in a foreign country. So if you're in the United States and something happens like that, you may have more options. But if you are flying all the way to South Korea, then, trying to get onto a cruise ship that's now gone into another country, and now you have to find flights to that country, it's not an overnight, like a 10-minute thing. It's not an easy fix. And the cruise lines, you have to call the cruise line. Then the cruise line is going to say, contact the airline. You're going to contact the airline. The airline's going to say, well, you have to pay for the tickets. You're going to say, no, I booked it through the cruise line. The cruise line is now guaranteeing me to get there because I booked the tickets through you. And they say, well, that's not in the fine print. And the flights were on time. So just because you didn't make the ship, that's not our fault. So no, you have to pay for it. And you see where it gets all involved. It's one thing if the there's an obvious mistake, like the flight gets canceled. Then the cruise lines and everything are obligated to get you there. But if the flight runs on time and you can't get your luggage on time, which is not the airline, it's sometimes a third party unloading the luggage. You couldn't get a taxi in time. There's traffic on your way there. That's not the cruise line. Hey, traffic is traffic. We're not responsible for traffic. You're still responsible to get there. You see where it all becomes a pain. So one of the tricks is to set your date of your when you're booking these airlines through the cruise lines, and do the day before. Do the day before. And even then, they'll usually accommodate you, but they may not. They know that the cruise is leaving on this date, and they may put you on another flight anyway, even if you ask to come in the day before, because it's cheaper for them. And they're looking to save some money, and they're looking to maximize their profitability, as all businesses do, right? And we try and do that ourselves. We want to pay the least amount of money for our cruise trips and our flights. They want to pay give away the least amount of stuff that they can to save money for themselves. It goes both ways. It unfortunately doesn't go one way or the other, but that is just a key signal. Like some booking engines, you can go on, like for instance, when I was booking my flights on Princess, you can go on and you can choose the flights and you can choose the day you're going on. But that isn't a free offer. That's not a discounted offer. That's their booking engine for flights. If I'm getting a free one, I usually have to go with what they give you, which means you're at the mercy of the computer. It's going to try and save the cruise line money, not make sure you make the cruise on time. So keep that in mind when you're booking, especially if you're booking like an expensive cruise, a once-in-a-lifetime cruise. Those windows to make the cruise line, it can be very, very tight. And worse, the connecting flights. I had a cruise line try and book me a connecting flight where I had to get off in Toronto, one airport, make my way to the other airport in Toronto, which is not connected, by the way. It's a whole distance away, to get on another flight to fly to the city I was going to. And guess what? They gave me a total of 1 hour to do it. Get off the flight, pick up my bag, get through custom, over to Toronto, other airport, fly, and then an hour. There was no way that was going to happen. But luckily, I am a little bit experienced at doing this sort of thing. Canceled that right away and rebooked it all on my own instead of using the $200 discount that I was going to get on that flight. Doesn't matter to get a $200 discount if they're going to book you where you can't possibly make the cruise on time.